Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimakong.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chap. 13 Sec 2 of Jane Eyre and Autobiography.
Ass.
Jane Eyre and Autobiography. Brontë. Chapter 13 Sec 2 of Face. When you came on me and Helen last night, thought unaccountably of fairy tales. Had poached my horse. I am not sure yet, nor ever had. I suppose. I thought not. For whom? For the men in green. It was a proper midnight evening for them. Of earrings. I shook my head. England 100 years ago, said I, speaking as seriously as he had done, and not even in Helen. All the fields about it. You find a trace of them. I don't think either summer or harvest. Or winter moon. Miss Fairfax had dropped her knitting and raised eyebrows. Simply wondering what sort of talk this was. Well, resumed Mr. Rochester, if you disown parents, you must have some sort of kinsfolk. No, I advertised, Amiceus said. The good lady now knew what ground we were upon, Providence led me to make. Me, don't trouble yourself to give her a character. Mr. Rochester, eulogiums will not bias me, I shall judge for myself. Sir, said Miss Fairfax. The widow looked bewildered. Miss Eyre, no, and teachers of Aloud, only such. Foxes came in my way, have lived the life of a nun. Religious forms of Brocklehurst, who I understand directs Aloud, is a parson. Yes, and you girls probably worshipped him, all you are very cool. But a novice not worship her. Priest. I disliked Mr. Brocklehurst. But I was not alone in the feeling. He is a harsh man. At once pompous and meddling, he cut off our hair economy sake, bought us by needles, and fared Miss Fairfax, who now again caught the drift of the dialogue. That they had in front of his offending? Demanded Mr. Rochester, when he had the sole superintendence of the provision department appointed, and he bored us with long lectures once a week, evening readings from books of his own inditing about sudden deaths and judgments, and you stayed there 8 years. You are now then, I assent. Arithmetic, you see, is useful without its aid. I've been able to guess your age, where the features and countenance are so much at variance as in your case. And now what did you learn at Aloud? Of course, established in, sir. Go into the library, you mean? Command, I am used to say do this, and it is done. I cannot alter my customary habits for one mate. Oh. Then library, take a Kindle with you, leave the door open to the piano. I departed, obeying his directions. Few minutes. You play a little, I see, English schoolgirl. Perhaps rather better than some. I closed the piano and returned. Mr. Rochester continued. Ada showed me some sketches this morning. Said were yours. I don't know whether they were entirely of your doing. No, indeed. I interjected. Ah, that pricks pride. Well, your portfolio, if you can vouch for its contents being original, pass your word unless you are certain, then I will say nothing. You shall judge for yourself. I brought the portfolio from the library table, said he, and I willed it to his couch. Adele and Miss Fairfax drew near to see the pictures. No crowding, said Mr. Rochester. Take the drawings from my hand as I finish with them, each sketch and painting. 3 he laid aside, the others had examined them. He swept from him. Take them off to the other table. Miss Fairfax, said he, may resume your seat and answer my questions. Then by one hand, and when did you find time to do them? They have taken much time. Spent at Aloud, yes, I should think it may have. The pictures before him and again surveyed them alternately, while he is occupied. I will tell you, reader, what they are. And first, I must premise that they are nothing wonderful. The subjects had, indeed, risen vividly on my mind. Well, I saw them with the spiritual eye before I attempted to embody them. They were striking, not sick in my fancy, pale portrait of the thing I had conceived. These pictures were in watercolours. First represented Codslow and the vid whirling over a swollen sea. Distance was an eclipse. So too was the foreground, or rather, the nearest billows, for there was no land, lifted into relief a half-submerged mass on which sat a cormorant large, with wings flecked with foam, with gems, yield, and as glittering distinct as my pencil could impart. Buried in mass, a drowned corpse glanced through the green water, and was the one limb clearly visible torn. The second picture contained for foreground only the dim peak of a hill with grass and some leaves slanting as if by a breeze, spread an expansive sky. Dark blue as a twilight sky was a woman's shape to the bust, soft as I could combine. The dim forehead was crowned with a star. The lineaments below were seen as through the suffusion of vapor, dark and wild, the hair streamed away stormore by electric travail. On the neck lay a pale reflection like moonlight, but this vision of the evening star, piercing a polar winter sky, a muster of northern lights reared their dim lances, close-serried along the horizon, throwing these into distance, whereas in the foreground a jocosal head, inclined towards the iceberg, resting against it, 2 thin hands joined under the forehead. It drew up before the lower features a sable veil, bloodless, white as bone, and an eye hollow and fixed, meaning but for the glass sense of despair alone were visible. Above the temples, amidst wreathed turban folds of black drapery, as cloud gleamed a ring of white flame, more lurid tinge. Were you happy when you painted these pictures? Asked Mr. Rochester presently. I was absorbed, serious, and I was happy to paint them. In short, that is not saying much. Your pleasures, by your own account, have been few. Exist in a kind of artist's dreamland while you blend and arrange these strange tints. I had nothing else to do because it was the vacation. I sat at them from morning till noon, and from noon till night. Far from it. Handiwork, not quite. You have secured the shadow of your thought, no more probably. If full being, yet the drawings are, for a schoolgirl, peculiar. As to thoughts, they are elfish. Evening star, you must have seen in a dream, look so clear and yet not at all brilliant, close their rays. And what meaning is that? In their solemn depth, who taught you to paint wind? There is a high gale in that sky, and on this hill top, we're dead. You see Latmos, there. I had scarce seen the strings of the portfolio when, looking at his watch, he said abruptly, "It is 9 o'clock. Are you about, Miss Eyre, to let us sit up so long?" I went to kiss him. Before quitting the room, he endured the caress, but scarcely seemed to relish it more than Pilate would have done much. I wish you all. Good night now, said he, the hand towards the door in. Token that he was tired of our company, and wished to dismiss us. Miss Fairfax folded up her knitting. I took my portfolio. We could say to him return, and so withdrew. You said. Mr. Rochester was not strikingly peculiar, Miss Fairfax, I observed, when I rejoined her in her room, putting Aloud to bed. Well, I think so, true, may appear so to her. Stranger, but I am so accustomed to his manner. I never think of it, and then temper, nature, and partly because he has painful thoughts, no doubt, him family troubles. Not now, but he has had her, at least. Relatives. Is present Mr. in possession of the property. 9 years is a tolerable time. Why, no, perhaps not. I believe there were some misunderstandings between them. Mr. Rochester was not quite just to Mr. Edward, fought against him. The old gentleman was fond of money, keep the family estate together. Division. And yet he was anxious that Mr. Edward should have wealth too, to keep up the consequence of the name, and he was of age. Some steps were taken that were not quite fair, and made a great deal of mischief. Old Mr. Rochester and Mr. Ryland combined to bring Mr. Edward into what he considered a painful position. For the sake of making his fortune, was I never clearly need to suffer in it. He is not very forgiving family, and now for many years he has led an unsettled kind of life. I don't think he has ever been resident at Thornfield for a fortnight together. Estate, and indeed the answer was evasive. Something clearer, but Miss Fairfax either could not, or would not, give me more explicit information of the origin and nature of Mr. Rochester's trials. She averred they were a mystery to herself, was chiefly from conjecture. It was evident, indeed, to drop the subject, which I did accordingly. To be continued.